Hi everyone, I'm Pranav Narang. I'm an academic tutor and trip fellow at Jindal Global University, and I'm also associated with the Office of Alumni Relations. And today we'll be interacting with Mr. Abhinav Mehrotra, who is JGLS 2018 graduate. He completed his LL.B from JGLS, and later he had completed his LL.M in International Humanitarian Law from University of Leeds. Abhinav will be sharing his experiences about his journey from student life to professional life. So Abhinav, hi Abhinav.
Hi, Pranav, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to interact with you and share my experiences with all the other alumni members, my fellow alumni. Thank you so much.
So Abhinav, could you please share how and when did you decide to pursue LLM in international humanitarian law from University of Leeds? You can share talk about your experiences before while you were pursuing LLB that
Yeah,
led to that decision.
it goes back to 2017 when I was in my or when we were in our second year. We go back to that time. So that time I went for the summer school to University of Oxford, which is called Jindal Oxford Summer School, JOS. So there, that experience when I went there, I stayed there for 3 weeks. I attended the entire program. So the exposure which I got of how things work in that environment and what's the learning criteria, what is expected out of you. I also got an opportunity to interact with some JGU, JGLS alumni who were studying there as well. So the whole environment, the whole the learning and what it holds for me in future, and as well as looking at the faculty members who studied before and sharing taking advice from them, as well as my peers like you who also later went on to do your masters. So it's basically a whole cumulative process where and especially at that time I was really interacting a lot with the faculty member who was with me in JOS, Miss Ashrita Prasad. So she really guided me. She herself is an alumni of Oxford University. So all these experiences shaped me and made me motivated to come back and work in a way that I get an admission in a UK university and take my career forward.
It's nice to hear about how you made your decision to pursue LLM from University of Leeds. So what were the drawbacks or advantages that you experienced in your transition from a graduate student based in JGLS to joining LLM program at University of Leeds? Or what did you experience? What did you get from experience of your fellow uh, students, like your colleagues in the LLM program?
Yeah. First, I think going to the Jindal experience of 3 years, LL pursuing LLB. So there are two things which are very important, which I think all the Jindal students are very privileged to have is have access to all the kinds of resources which are available in any part of the world. So when you go outside, you don't feel a sudden change. You are already exposed to certain things which other fellow Indian students or other students from different parts of the world may not be or are not exposed to them. So it's not a very big change in terms of having access to certain things. The major difference is when you go outside, you are treated more independent. You because in Jindal there's a lot of help available. Your faculty is really interested in helping you out. There are other mechanisms through which you can seek guidance. But when you go outside, there are a lot of mechanisms there as well. But it's expected that certain things you know. So, in terms of transitioning from an undergraduate student to a graduate student, the most challenging part was to become more independent because in Jindal, certain things are really taken care of, small things, which from the starting of the day to the end of the day. having for I give you a very simple example. Have preparing meals is something which seems to be a very trivial issue, but when you go outside, it's a very important issue. So these small things, and how you manage yourself both intellectually and emotionally, because there are certain times where you are really pushed. You need to really fight back and, in the sense, prove yourself. So there are certain positive aspects which you take from Jindal in terms of exposure, in terms of learning, researching. But there are certain challenges which you will only get to know when you go out there. So it's a mix of things, but Jindal students should consider themselves very privileged in terms of having access to a lot of things. So then coming to the second aspect of pursuing LLM in Leeds, so the best thing was, which is really worth mentioning, is the learning culture. Like nobody, irrespective of the seniority or experience he or she has, they all are willing to learn from scratch. So I'll give you a very basic example. There were Chinese students. There were students from countries like Brazil or South American, other South American countries, which were not so fluent in English. So even learning basic English and accepting that we need to learn something from scratch is something which I really, being humble in your learning and not thinking that you know everything, or you are willing to put in the extra work or start as a beginner, is something which is, I think, the highlight of going and outside and learning, and taking it from there, and taking your career forward in that respect, that having a learner's attitude.
Criticism from the seniors or colleagues or professors or even family members that played key role in your shaping your career?
Yeah, till now my family members, my parents, my teachers, the most important advice which all of them have given, even the seniors or fellow or colleagues or fellow students or fellow batchmates, I would say. So it's to be honest in your purpose and to have a clarity in your purpose as to what you want to do. Because if, like, I'll give you a basic example, in while applying or while doing anything, it is kind of a statement of purpose, or kind of having a clarity of what you want to do. So in that, certain people try to fake it, but what I have learned from my seniors or my parents, my teachers, is to be honest and to show that what you intend to, and what you are, and what you want to be. So I think this honesty is the most important thing which I've learned till now, and which I'm trying to build upon and trying to work upon since in the last 6 7 years of my studies and now working. So
Nice.
this yeah, the only advice is to be honest, to not show off, to be simple, and to be transparent. It's the word, if I may say.
Yeah, good to hear the thought about the honesty and the role of the honesty or like professional ethics in the in a lawyer's career. So, in your current role of being an academician, how do you manage or maintain your work-life balance?
I think right now, because of the online classes, and also I think the balance is uh, is I would say it's not very easy to maintain, in terms of you are always on that that workplace is become that workplace has become the laptop. So you never get off your work in a way, but in other respect, it's also good that you are keep learning, and you are involved in what you are doing. So I think the balance right now as a newcomer is, I would say, it's more towards working and towards learning rather than the other aspects. So I think the balance is still now more in favor of working, but uh, when we'll get back to normal situation, then the balance might come back. But right now, it's more towards having that laptop and working and try to bring out something every day.
So, while you have been working for like 1 or 1 to 2 years as an academician, what do you think? What are the key skills required or one needs to develop to excel as academician in human right law practice, or like as a human right lawyer?
I think the first most important is need to have researching skills, drafting skills, which are like bread and butter for whatever you are trying to do. And then now the thing which I've really learned from the being on the other side of the table now is to organize a class. It's not only about knowing the facts or knowing what you have to convey, but how to convey. It's something which now I'm learning. So it's a combination of having skills of researching, drafting, but also managing a class in those particular hours and managing the dynamics of a class. So, as an academician, that is also quite important. How to, and especially in this online environment where you can't even see who you are teaching or who are you are interacting with. So, the online environment really makes you work more hard in terms of managing a class. So,
Yeah, the online environment has taken toll on most of the professions, I guess.
but there is one positive aspect to the online environment as well, that in a different way, that you are being pushed to work even more because of the additional time you have. So that the productivity might have gone up, but the mental health or the issues related to a bit of stress also increases. So it's I think both sides of the coin.
So moving forward, I mean, what do you think that Indian universities lack as compared to, like, I think you have covered this point, but what do you think, like, Indian universities can learn from foreign universities, and vice versa, foreign universities can learn from Indian universities?
I think this again the point of independence. I think the students need to be more independent in their life as a student. Only that the support should be there, but certain things they should be made more accountable towards, and certain, I would say, having certain basic principles to follow, or having made accountable for certain things, and they're in the sense not as if they're right or wrong, but having to be more independent is something which I've learned, like small things which I mentioned before. So that's something which Indian universities can work upon in terms of making the students an independent learner. I think that's the key word, more of an independent learner rather than a dependent learner. And the aspect which the foreign universities can learn is to be more involved with the students. They are involved, but having more interactions or having more basically like the interest which faculty members here take, there also people do take, but it's not at that level which we see in Jindal especially. So the how the faculty members are concerned about the students. So that's something which foreign faculties are doing, but can learn from more from Indian universities.
So, do you remember any Eureka moment while your tenure as a student or academician that provided you insight into in your subject of law, in your specialization?
Yeah, I've been doing some research on conflict related situations, and in terms of how human rights law play a role in that, or in general, I'm researching. So, I've come across some resources, especially visual resources, which talk about different situations in different parts of the world where conflicts have affected people. So, I think watching those videos and the situation and the reality, what's happening there through the lens, because I can't be there, but I can see what's happening. So I think that's really an eye opener, and also a motivation to develop oneself in a way that one can do something with regard to that later in life or something. So I think having all kinds of aids, not only readings or literature, but also audio visual resources, also really makes you aware of different things.
Thank you, Abhinav, for taking out time to share your experience, and that's it for today.
Thank you so much, Pranav. And we go long back from our days, and now It's great to be interacting in a different capacity with you. Thank you so much.
Have a nice day.